Jorinda and Jorindel. Once upon a time, there was an old castle in the middle of a big wood. An old enchantress lived in the castle. She knew magic and could change her shape. All day she might fly around as an owl or creep around like a cat. But at night, she always turned back into an old woman. If any young man came within 100 steps of her castle, he suddenly found his feet stuck fast to the ground. He couldn't move until she came and let him go. If any pretty girl came near, the enchantress used her magic to change her into a bird. Then the enchantress put her in a pretty cage and hung it up in a room in the castle. There were many, many cages hanging in the castle, all with pretty birds inside. Now, there was a lovely girl named Jorinda. She was very kind and cheerful. A shepherd boy named Jorindle loved her very much, and they were going to be married soon. One day, they went for a walk in the wood. Jorindle said, "We must be careful not to go too close to the enchantress's castle." It was a beautiful evening. The setting sun shone through the trees onto the green grass, and birds sang in the tall birch trees. Jorinda sat down to watch the sun, and Jorindle sat beside her. They felt a little bit thoughtful as the day ended. They had walked a long way, and when they looked to see how to get home, they realized they weren't sure of the path. The sun was going down quickly. Half of it had already sunk behind the hill. Suddenly, Jorindle looked behind him and saw that they had sat down very near the old castle walls without knowing it. He was surprised. Jorinda was singing a little song. The little bird sang from the willow tree. Tweetily, tweetily, he sang for his friend far away. Tweetily. Suddenly, her song stopped. Jorindle turned to see why, and he saw that his Jorinda had turned into a little nightingale. Her song ended with a gentle jug, jug. An owl with big, bright eyes flew around them 3 times and called out, "Too-hoo! Too-hoo! Too-hoo!" Jorindel couldn't move. He stood still, too surprised to move or speak. The sun went down completely, and the night became dark. The owl flew into a bush. A moment later, the old enchantress came out. She looked grumpy. She mumbled to herself, gently picked up the nightingale, and went away with it. Poor Jorindel saw that the nightingale was gone. He felt very worried. He couldn't move his feet. At last, the enchantress came back and sang in a scratchy voice, "Until the little bird is safe inside and the magic is done, stay there. Oh, stay. When the magic hour passes by and the spell is all gone, go away, away." Suddenly, Jorindel could move again. He quickly asked the enchantress to give him back his dear Jorinda. But she just shook her head, said, "She's with my birds now," and went away. He felt very sad, but he thought, "I must find a way to help Jorinda." He couldn't go home just yet, so he went to a different village and looked after sheep nearby. Many times he walked near the castle, as close as he dared, but he did not see Jorinda. One night he had a dream. He dreamt that he found a beautiful purple flower. In the middle of the flower was a shiny dewdrop like a pearl. He dreamt that he picked the flower and went to the castle with it. Everything he touched with the flower became free from the magic spell, and he found Jorinda again. In the morning, he woke up and began to search for the purple flower. He looked for 8 days. On the 9th day, early in the morning, he found the beautiful purple flower. In the middle of it was a big dewdrop, as big as a pearl. He picked the flower and traveled day and night until he came to the castle again. He walked closer than 100 steps, but his feet didn't get stuck this time. He could walk right up to the door. Jorindel was very happy. Oh, he touched the door with the flower, and it swung open. He went inside and heard many birds singing sweetly. Finally, he came to the room where the enchantress sat with the many, many birds in their cages. When the enchantress saw Jorindle, she was very surprised and stamped her foot. But she couldn't come closer than 2 steps to him because the flower protected him. He looked at the birds, but there were so many nightingales. How could he find Jorinda? While he was wondering, he saw the enchantress take down one of the cages and hurry toward the door. He ran after her, touched the cage with the flower, and Jorinda stood before him. She hugged him, and she looked as lovely as ever. Then he touched all the other cages with the flower, and the birds all turned back into young men and women. He took Jorinda home, where they got married and lived happily for many years. All the others who had been birds were happy to go home too.